What happened to your first love? We met in high school and lost touch for a few years after school. We met up again after that and we had a relationship for a few years. We ended up breaking up because he wanted to start a family and I wasn't ready for that. I don't really know what happened to him since then because we no longer talk, but I hope he's doing well. Honestly, I was extremely toxic. Think, nice girl, not like other girls, jealous, quick to anger. I have worked through so much of those in the last few years, but damn. Looking back, I do not blame him for falling out of love at all. I would just like to apologize, but he won't care. She died in a car accident the day before my 21st birthday. I've never even come close to loving anyone as much as I loved her. I honestly feel like a huge part of me died with her. It's been 30 years and while it's not like I'm constantly haunted by her death, there are some days it still feels like the same white-hot, double-barreled emotional shotgun blast to the chest. It was the day I heard the news. I came to terms with it a long time ago, but it took a lot of time and effort to get there. It was 10 years before I was able to visit her grave and get some closure. I missed her funeral because I was away at college. My mom didn't tell me until I came home, something I don't think I can ever forgive her for doing. She vanished and stopped answering my calls. It hurt a lot and I thought she hated me for some reason. Called her house and they hung up on me. I wondered for years. 24 years later I see her in a picture with a mutual friend. I friend requested her and she immediately accepted and messaged me saying, "Hey, I've wondered where you were for years." I asked what happened. She was kidnapped by her biological mother. Lived in a truck for months and ended up being found in Montana where they were hiding. She was 15 and I was 17 at the time. She's doing well now and she lives in Arizona with her husband and kids. We met in university and were best friends but not romantic. He ended up working in another country. I had a lot of demons to work through not related to him. We kept in sporadic touch over the years. He came back to visit home and we saw each other and we ended up getting married. I was 47 years old. He's sipping coffee next to me right now in Italy. I turn 50 tomorrow. She's downstairs with our daughters right now. She was on her way from Oregon back to campus in Utah with her mom. I never learned details, but they hit black ice, went off the road, then another car hit it and piled into them, killing them both along with the driver of the other car. No one was at fault. No one was to blame. I processed her death a long time ago, but I often wonder how much better the world would be if she were still in it. For anyone lucky enough to know her, their life would be about 30% better. She just got done yelling at me for being mean on Twitter. When I was 16 or 17, we made a stupid pact to get married if we were both 30 plus and single. She ghosted me over 15 years ago. I randomly got a Facebook DM last week from her saying, "Hey, I just got out of prison. You remember our promise?" No, I don't remember. She married some a-hole. It's me, I'm the a-hole. Still married. She became a real estate agent last I heard. Haven't talked to her in 20 years. Around 2012 I got curious and looked her up and that's where I found out. He didn't exist. I was young and was catfished for several years. While we were in love he was trying to get clean. It was a long tragic story of a relationship. He was hitting rock bottom and broke up with me because he said he wanted me to hate him so that I wouldn't be sad when he died. Then he disappeared for months. Finally he resurfaced, showed up at his parents' doorstep in the cold wearing a single sock boxers and a tank top, said he'd been sleeping in a drain pipe and finally decided he needed help and they brought him to inpatient rehab. His mom called me to tell me and once his doctor decided he was ready I was allowed to see him. It was one of the most bittersweet moments of my life. We wrote letters to each other for years before we were allowed to see each other again. We agreed not to be together for his health because he had an association with me from times of being high. Love felt too good, but the high was the icing on the cake. A few years later he settled down with a girl like him. He met me one last time to apologize for everything and to give me his first nah tag he ever got. He told me he'd never stop loving me but he would be happy in his new life. All I want is for him to be safe and happy. I hope he has the kids he always wanted and a big dog and a house of his own. Died in a motorcycle accident. I was 14 at the time, he was 17. A very sweet boy and I'll never forget how kind he was to me. For someone from a very abusive home, it meant the world to me to be treated with care. She moved to LA with her sister while I was out of state at an invitational swim meet without saying anything or breaking up with me. Was finally able to get a hold of her through a friend, and she said she moved because she couldn't stand being with her parents anymore. We were together for 3 years. This happened the day after I was giving my cousin advice because his first love broke up with him the day before. So I took my own advice, got over it, and we had a great time. She ended up marrying a dealer and they seem happy with a kid. Well, I was too good for her, so she had to settle for some unblemished blonde guy with six-pack abs and a law degree who went on to be a VP at a top German engineering company. Her loss. He was my first love. He was this typical new kid in school. Met him through a mutual friend, became close after talking and exchanging contacts together. We had so much in common, it was fun being with him. Eventually, feelings grew and we fell in love. But it was mostly puppy love. We were young after all, I admit that. Then I moved across the country and we both agreed that it's best to break up, mostly I suggested it. He was heartbroken, of course, but he understood. We didn't have contact after that for years. We occasionally tried to, but because of the time zones and personal lives, we didn't have the time. Lately, we reconnected. He's doing great, and I'm so proud of him. Even found out he has a girlfriend. Told him I have a lovely boyfriend too. We were both just remembering our memories and just had a good time. Afterwards, we went on with our lives. And that was it. He was a stranger. Then a friend. Best friend. Boyfriend. Stranger again. Then stayed friends in the end. That was my first love. Now I found my soulmate. She got a master's degree, married a decent guy, got a good job, had 2 beautiful kids and has a great life. We're very happy. We stopped talking just last year. We met in 2013 and things were okay, in a bad way. I asked him out once or twice and his response was to block me. So, I never messaged him after that. But then he reached out again and apologized for it. He explained that he likes me too but doesn't want to move fast. At this point I was pretty much over him. Anyway, despite our friendship getting better, our communication was terrible. We both had really bad depression and we'd enter these, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm deleting all my social media phases. And when those were over, we'd start talking about a life together. Literally, talked about building a house together, what we wanted to include room-wise, went over interior and exterior decor, etc. We'd even send each other Pinterest pictures for inspiration. In an old conversation, when we first met, I told him I liked plants, and so in one of these conversations he said, "Oh, and your green room. I can always build that myself. We can do it together if you want." After talking about this, we'd talk about our day, how we were feeling, what we did, what we ate, our troubles for the day, etc. But then the phase would happen again. We would last 4 months and sometimes even 6 months not talking. And when we did, the cycle began again. This went on up until 2 years ago, in 2020. For the first time ever, we talked like 20 times a day. We'd be on the phone for hours talking about the dumbest things ever. But then we just stopped texting. Why? I don't know. In our last conversation, I just remember him talking about how he had decided to go to college. I was so proud of him since he's always doubted himself. And well, that was that. Looking back, I see how incredibly toxic this was. I hope he's doing well though. His mental health wasn't the greatest, so I truly hope he finds friends and gets into good relationships that will help him physically and mentally. He married the woman he cheated on me with. That was 40 years ago. As far as I know, they are still together. So it was meant to be. We were 13. We both came from really bad homes. Our parents didn't like that we were dating and did everything to keep us apart. We hated everyone and everything except each other. She was the first person in my life I ever told I loved them. Never even said it to my mother at that point, that's how messed up stuff was. We spent every second we could together for about 6 months. Holding hands, cuddling, making out. We both got Baker acted for suicide attempts that year and would send each other letters in the hospital. Then one day her parents decided she was going to go live with her aunt in New Hampshire. I got told about an hour before she left. The school guidance counselor let us say our goodbyes in her office and have a little privacy. When she left, I absolutely lost all control and I destroyed the guidance counselor's office and had to be Baker acted again. She left me a phone number, but eventually her aunt had the number changed. I had lost the only person in the world in my 13 years I had ever loved. I spent years on the internet trying to find her. This was before social media, when the best you could have hoped for was to stumble on her AIM account. I eventually started doing searches on MySpace for anyone her age in the town in New Hampshire. I'd start messaging them one by one asking if they knew this girl. For a long time I got no responses, or they never heard of her. Then one day I got a response from her new boyfriend, oddly enough, and he put me in touch with her. We experienced a very passionate re-emergence of our feelings and had a long-distance relationship for about 3 months. Then we both got really messed up on substances and lost touch again for about 5 years. Then we found each other again and were going to make plans to be together. Then she told me that I was inadvertently bringing back her childhood trauma and that she couldn't be around me anymore and that we shouldn't talk. I was 28 when I lost her again. I broke up with him, because I thought I was going to deprive him of the full college and life experience. I hated myself for ending it, but I wanted him to live his life. He met someone a few years later, they're happy and living their best life. For me, it's been hard, but I'm happy for him. We were going different directions in our lives, we were young. I did a favor to us both, but I still love him, and I'd get back together with him in a heartbeat. We've been married just over 20 years. Met at a park when we were young teens. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her from the day I met her. She took a while to come around, but I'm glad she did. We've been best friends for 25 years now and have entirely too many kids of our own.